Hello and welcome back to my channel, and welcome to part 2 of my go-to designs series. So this go-to design that I'm presenting to you today was originally based on a scrap lift I did of Tracy Banks' Mercy Tiara way back, I think it might have been 2014 or maybe even 2013. It was during a Scraptastic online crop. And I joined Scraptastic, I think, in the fall of 2013. And I think after that, there was only ever the one crop. So it might have been the spring of 2014. Anyway, it was basically, what we're looking at here is an L-shaped design with a little bit of angle. So you can see here the main piece, which is probably what helps us design the rest of the page, comes down here. So it's about anywhere I would guess between 3 and 4 inches. I think this is 4 inches. I may have done a couple here where it's even a little bit wider. Don't think I've done more narrow. So I would say this is about 4 inches by 9, probably about 4 by 9. And you see here, and you will also notice on the other layouts, that this is geared pretty much towards square photos, whether they be 4 by 4, 3 by 3, or even a little bit bigger. So sort of the anchoring piece of this whole layout is this back piece here. Then there is quite a narrow, this is about 2.5 inches on this one, I guess, strip with a banner at the end that crosses the entire layout. So it sort of gives you that L shape and a place to anchor the photo sort of at that join, and it covers that sort of 1/3. You know, I think it's Chamel that always talks about dividing the page, or used to talk about dividing the page in 3s and having the photo on one of those crisscrosses. So this would work perfectly well here. And then there are 2 smaller banner-shaped pieces that don't go all the way across. This one here anchors like we normally do, sort of in the bottom of this one, and then this one sort of overlaps the 2. So that would be sort of the basis of the layout. Title over here, title and embellishment sort of in the crook. Would we call that a crook? Embellishment sort of in the crook here, and then a few little clusters. Now, you'll see here often what happens is for these banner pieces, you might want to use some scraps, and therefore, you know, there'll be some odd lost space or angles here or bits showing. So this area is often good for a nice embellishment cluster, and you can see here I just put a little scalloped circle, and that was likely to hide because this piece of paper probably ended here. The title here, and a little bit of journaling. Now on this particular one, I can't remember whether this was actually part, because this is definitely the first time that I did that scrap lift. I don't know if this little upper cluster is part of the original. If I can find, I don't recall if there was a video, a public video. There was a video for sure on the Scraptastic site at that time. I'm not sure if there was a public video, but I will go back, and if I can find it, and if there is one, I will definitely link it below, and then we'll be able to see whether this sort of little corner cluster was there. So I don't remember everything, all of the supplies that I used on these layouts for sure. I know these lovely gold thickers are some of my favorites, and I believe They are Dear Lizzie. I have some silver ones, which are identical. The font is identical. They're silver, and they're called Fox. So this might be the gold ones of that, or it might be from a Chanel collection. I'm not quite sure. These are definitely some mini markets. I think these lovely little burlap hearts might have been in a Scraptastic kit that came along. And for sure, these cork pieces are definitely from Spiegel Mom Scraps. There are a few little wood veneers that would have been from a Scraptastic kit at the time. And I was just trying to see in the back here if I could see where this paper might have come from. And I'm not quite sure. I'm pretty sure that this layer here in the back is a Simple Stories. And you see I have a little bit of layering here, a little piece of vellum, this larger mat, and then I just matted the photo in the sort of green to match. So this is a really fun, great layout. Still leaves a lot of nice white space around it. Perfect for all those square photos that are so popular now. So here is another example. And so you can see here that I went higher on the page with the photo. And this banner piece is a lot wider than it is here. And the anchor piece here is a lot narrow. So before, when I said I don't think I went as narrow as 3 inches, I was obviously wrong, because this is 3 inches at most. It might even be 2.75. But you still find the same elements, although here, what I did with the banners is I moved them up. So rather than being here down at the bottom, I moved them up on the page, so that this, because I chose here some text paper, and I think this is probably, or maybe, I think this comes from Maggie Holmes' Open Book. And I really wanted some of this to show, because perhaps imagination is only intelligence. Never judge a book by its movie. Anyone who says many things which escape those who dream. So there are a lot of fun little words here, and I thought they were very cute. This is Sophie, my sister from another mister, and her husband, well, ex-husband now, but that's one of their cats, which is now her cat only. And this is Chopin's little girlfriend, and she's the tiniest little thing, and we always have the cage because we go back and forth between the homes a few times in the year, so that they can visit one another while we're visiting one another. And this one, and they also, because when it's only for a few days, I don't put the cage away, and they love to play in the cage. So Sophie will often go in the cage, Chopin will jump over the cage, or he'll go on the cage and put his little paw in there, and they will play. So it's just cute to see them going. But I think I took this picture on a day that we were going to travel, so I titled it Have Cage, Will Travel. I thought I was very clever. So there you go. So you see, and then here I added a little bit of an extra little piece here. This is definitely a Simple Stories. So I made a few more layers on the anchor piece here, but we still have the L, and this time the third is a little bit sort of just the top part of the photo, so it's a little more centered, almost centered, not quite on the page. Again, the same little clusters, probably hiding off some edges. Here again, this first more narrow banner spanned over the larger one and over the anchor piece. So we have here the same thickers that I used. No, you see, they aren't. They are a little bit different. These are a little darker. So I think these are Chanel and these are Dear Lizzie, or vice versa. These are definitely some foam alphas from Dear Lizzie and the beautiful coral color. I love them. I actually still have a few letters. I used them just a little bit all the time because I love the size, I love the font, and I love that color. These chipboard stars and this camera are from Studio Calico. Back when, when we could get those little packages, they were very reasonable. I think they were like $2.99 or something, full of stars of different sizes or cameras of different sizes. Again, a lovely little burlap piece, little stickers here and there. This gold, I'm pretty sure is from a Maggie Holmes sticker sheet, the Precious and the Cute. And as I mentioned, the hello is definitely from Simple Stories, as is, I think, this anchor piece. So that is a second example. And the third example I have today, and you'll see that I haven't really turned this one about, but you'll see I may have tried. So here we are back to the original design, where the banners are down at the bottom. This anchor piece is a little bit wider than this one, so I think this might be 4.5. Pretty much always about the 9 inches long, so that we could leave some room at the top and bottom so that everything could breathe. And this layout was made with one of my favorite Simple Stories collections and one of my favorite collections of all times, the Simple Stories Life in Color. This paper is definitely from there, as is this one. And I think the background, this beautiful wood grain, Simple Stories do the most awesome wood grain. So I think this might have been also from Life in Color. The die cuts and chipboard and all these little stickers are, as well as this lovely sticker, are also from Life in Color for sure. And this is a photo during my backpacking trip. This is in Treveles in Spain. And this is very high up. This is about as high as one can go in Spain, the altitude in Spain. So the title aptly, Almost on Top of the World. Lovely. Happy little moments. So it's just a, little everyday photo from that trip that I really wanted to record. Not a lot of journaling. Actually, this is a little bit of an example where sometimes I will use a title as journaling and sort of mix them up a little bit. So, happy little moments, almost on top of the world. Lovely. Could be journaling, and it is the title as well. So there you go. So then I started looking at whether this design might be as versatile as the previous one that I put. So I sort of turned it over this way, and I thought, okay, I could probably. That looks a little bit odd, and this makes it a little bit heavy on the bottom, but I think you probably could do it. But it would definitely need a little bit of a cluster up here to anchor it all, and I think I might use only a 3x3 photo to do that. Then this way as well, this would just certainly be the reverse. So I don't know, this would almost be a T, but I think this would be quite a nice way of doing it. This is definitely a way of doing it. Exactly the same thing. It's basically just almost the mirror image, except there again, the little banner spanning across would be at the top. And then there is this way. And this is probably my favorite way of doing it. So I looked at this the other day, well, actually yesterday, in fact, and I said, you know what? I'm going to try, because I realized that I had really only done, and I'm doing this layout always in its original form. So I said, let me go and try and do this. So the next layout I'm going to show you is basically showing you where you can go with an idea, a layout, a sketch, a scrap lift, and then veer off course. So this, I had this on my desk. So I had this on my desk and I said, you know what? I'm going to try and do it this way. So the title down here, up the top, the banners, I'm going to try and do it this way. And this is what we got. So it's not a scrap lift at all of this one. It's at first glance, not at all the same design. But if you look a little bit closer, you'll see that I did use some of the elements. I certainly used the anchor piece that I put across. The photo is definitely at the joint of the 1/3, 1/3 there. I have two pieces of paper underneath. They're a lot wider. They are not banners and they don't go down quite as far. But then the cluster of embellishment that you see here and the cluster of embellishment that you see here are repeated here. So you see there are elements, and this is a perfect example of taking either a go-to design, a sketch, a scrap lift as a jumping off point and creating something completely different that at first glance you don't see the resemblance, but as you look closer, you realize that some of the elements do in fact repeat. The photo here is a lot bigger. This was a 5x7, so I cut it down to 5x5. And oh, isn't this now, okay, isn't this a beautiful color scheme? It almost happened by accident, actually, because I had this cardstock on my desk. I can't really remember how. And then I was going through some of my Scrapbook and Cards Today samplers, and I found this gorgeous jelly bean soup paper, and I saw the beautiful sort of aqua tealy blue here, and I went, oh my God, is this not just lovely? So I decided to base the layout on that color scheme. I went here, this is a mini kit, one of the mini kits from my Secret Not Secret Kit Club. This is Close to My Heart paper. I believe it's the Bouquet collection. This piece of paper comes also from the Close to My Heart. And these die cuts, this one, and this little Tuesday were in the same mini kit. So I'm not quite sure whether they came from the Bouquet collection. They certainly match it beautifully, or Arts to Be. It was in one of those beautiful little envelopes that Christina sends, but they worked perfectly. This is a stack of books. This was a book signing, my book signing that I was doing for the first book that I got published, my recipe book, back in 1998. So this layout will go into that famous little album that I've started based on the Time for Change challenge. You will have seen that in my share, I think probably the video just before this one, from the Secret Not Secret Kit Club party from January. This sticker and this sticker is from the Paige Evans Whimsical, and I think I had one page. This was either in the Scrapbook and Cards Today sampler or in my mini kit. I sort of muddled them up a little bit, so I'm not quite sure which is which. The beautiful Happy Life thickers from Paige Evans collections. And we've got some of these lovely little Altenew chipboard that are in my Kit with Style. That was in my Kit with Style for January and for February. So there you have it. So tell me what you think about this particular go-to design. Have you tried it? Have you done this kind of design? And if you haven't, how about I challenge you to do it? And if you do it, post it over in the Mercy Tiara Facebook group. I'll put the link below. Or if you're using one of your stash kits or your killer kit, post it in the Rediscover Your Stash Facebook group. I'll put a link there as well. And I will be back in a couple of weeks with part 3 of this go-to design. Leave me any comments or any questions you might have below, and I'll see you soon. Bye.